In this video, you will learn the secrets to getting the relationship you want from your man. So if you're dating a person but feel like he's not meeting your needs and treating you the way you deserve to be treated, then this is the video for you. Don't go anywhere because we're starting right now. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello and I'm a psychologist and a relationship coach. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. On to the secrets to getting the relationship you want from your man. Every day, women email me with questions like these. How can I get him to text me or call me more? How can I get him to pay more attention to me? How can I get him to love me like he did before? Or they tell me something that bothers them about their relationship and ask, am I overreacting? Am I being too sensitive? What do you think? And generally speaking, these questions are very similar. They're all addressing the same thing. A woman in a dating relationship with a man, but for whatever reason, he is not meeting her expectations and needs in the relationship. And she's not being treated the way she deserves, despite her complaints and frustrated attempts at getting him to change. Basically, these emails are all asking the same thing. How can I get the relationship I need from him? So that's why I decided to make this video, to explain my secrets to getting what you want and need to be genuinely happy in your relationship. And this approach works in all these situations. What's even better, this 3-step plan will help you to get clarity about the things that are really important to you, as well as the things that aren't that big of a deal and the ones that you should compromise on. So break out your pen and notebook and let's jump right into it. I'm going to explain the secret to getting what you want from your relationship in detail. And to make it easier to understand, I'm going to share some examples of situations and we will go through the steps together, starting with this one. A few years ago, I was working with a woman, and let's call her Jenny. Jenny was a 27-year-old college graduate who had been dating a 28-year-old man named Jared. The couple had been dating for about a year, and Jenny explained that they spent a great deal of time together and were intimate, but Jared did not want to be in a relationship. Jenny felt like Jared was giving her mixed messages because they spent so much time together and they acted like a couple. But still, he refused to call her his girlfriend or to be in an official relationship. When Jenny contacted me, her immediate complaint was that Jared would make plans with her, but then he would blow her off and cancel with her last minute when his friends wanted to go out. What she really wanted was a commitment from Jared and for him to make her a priority. So keep this example in mind as I explain the first step, and that is to ask yourself this question. Number 1, do you share the same relationship values and goals? Having your relationship values and goals in alignment means that you and your partner are on the same page. You both know what you want. You are compatible and you know what you wish to accomplish in the relationship. Both of you are firmly committed to achieving these goals. And knowing that you are on the same page is the first step in the secret to getting what you want from him. Because if he's not on the same page, he is certainly not going to meet your needs with any consistency. It doesn't matter how much chemistry you share. It doesn't matter how attracted you are to one another. And it doesn't matter how much fun you have together. A relationship is not going to work if both partners don't have similar visions of what their futures look like, as well as a commitment to achieving those goals together. And in the case of Jared and Jenny, they did not want the same things. Jenny wanted a mature, exclusive, and committed relationship, and although Jared liked Jenny and had fun with her, he did not want the commitment or the responsibilities of a relationship. And Jared did feel remorseful and he recognized that blowing Jenny off was disrespectful and hurtful, but he still continued to do it. The problem here, their relationship values and goals were different. And because Jenny wanted him so badly, she refused to accept what Jared told her in favor of what she wanted to believe. She wanted a relationship with a man who told her and showed her that he was not relationship material. And as long as their relationship values and goals were totally different, Jared would never be able to give her what she wanted in a relationship. So if you are in a relationship with a person who does not share those same values, goals, and qualities, getting your needs met consistently is not going to happen. So step 1 is to make a list of your core relationship values and qualities that are important to you. And to make it easier, I'm going to share the qualities of a partner that are important to look into. Because being incompatible on too many of these values makes a lasting relationship much more difficult. The areas to include are relationship goals, ideas surrounding money, your ambitions, the importance and involvement of family, how you both express emotions, and whether or not you want children. The role of religion is also important, and how you relax. So for each of these values and qualities that I just listed, I want you to write down and describe your values on one side of the page and write down his on the other side. So for example, you're going to write beliefs about money, for example. Perhaps you are an extreme spender and he's an extreme saver. So give an example of your differences and how that might affect you in the future. Because think about it, you're eventually going to run into problems because of these incompatible values. For example, if you love going on nice dinners and vacations and your partner is focused on saving every penny, you have incompatible values, and one of you is always going to feel like you're compromising or not getting your needs met. And if the two of you are totally different on many of these important values, the likelihood of you being happy in this relationship long term is really low. So perhaps it's time to rethink the relationship. On the other hand, let's say that you comprised your list and you see that the two of you are very compatible and share the same values, goals, and qualities, but you're not getting the relationship you want or need from him. Well, then it's time to go on to the second step of getting what you need from your relationship, and that is to ask yourself this question. Number 2, are your expectations reasonable? If you're in a relationship, of course you're going to have expectations of your partner. For example, you're going to expect honesty and loyalty and support and love and friendship and companionship. Those are the essentials. But sometimes we hold on to unrealistic expectations that are nearly impossible to meet. In other words, you have expectations that require your partner to be nearly perfect and to possess all of these qualities all the time. But we all make mistakes. I mean, everyone is human and none of us is perfect. So when we are not getting some need met, we have to ask ourselves if our expectation is too high. Are we being reasonable in expecting this from our partner? For example, when a couple gets into an argument, perhaps it's a serious argument that leads them to not talking for a few days. Or maybe they even take a break. After a few days passes, one or both of them realize that what they were disagreeing about was an unreasonable expectation. In other words, it wasn't that big of a deal and perhaps they should have given their partner a pass. Now, what do I mean by a pass? Well, keep watching because this is an important example. A few years ago, I was working with a woman who was frustrated and unhappy because she felt like her boyfriend had changed and that he was taking her for granted. But overall, he was a great guy. When we started working together, one of her complaints was that he liked playing video games online with his friends for about an hour, 2 or 3 times a week. She thought it was immature and that he should use his time doing something more productive. And she resented the fact that he played games with his friends instead of spending that recreation time with her. But in almost every other area, they were very compatible and had a solid relationship. What she didn't understand was that after a long day at work, it provided him with a much needed stress release as well as an opportunity to bond with his friends. Now, if he spent 5 to 6 hours a day playing video games instead of taking care of his other responsibilities, then it would have been a more serious problem. The point is, sometimes we have to take a step back and think about our expectations, understand our partner's point of view, and change our perspective and expectations because it really isn't that big of a deal. Now, having said that, we must also know what our deal breakers are. Deal breakers are specific individual issues or characteristics of a partner that one cannot overlook despite other redeeming qualities the individual may possess. The deal breaker is the primary reason for not continuing the relationship. So when it comes to getting what you need from a partner, you must also ask yourself if your expectations are reasonable and not extreme. And if you know that you're both on the same page with regard to relationship values and goals, and your expectations are reasonable, then go on to the third step. Now, the third step is how you get what you want from the relationship, by keeping your standards high. Remember, it's your values and your expectations that sets the bar for your relationship. It sets your standards of what you expect, and where you set your own bar determines how anyone else is going to treat you. The way we love and value ourselves sets up the way in which we let other people love and value us or mistreat us. The problem that so many people have when they meet someone they really like, They are often willing to compromise their standards in the very early stages of dating. And when you do that, you are setting low parameters for him. Like the example I gave you last week. You really like a man and you're excited about him, and he invites you out for a Saturday night. And the same day he texts you to confirm that you're meeting at a particular restaurant at 7 p.m. So you show up to the restaurant at 6:57 and he's nowhere to be found. In fact, he doesn't show up until 7:18, and he did not take a moment to let you know that he was running late. And when he arrives, he makes no mention of the fact that he is late. So how do you feel given this situation? He shows up almost 20 minutes late and doesn't take the time to text you and let you know. Are you upset or frustrated? Do you say something to him? Do you compromise your standards here because you really like him and you're afraid to cause any friction? Are you feeling like you want him to like you and you're worried about sounding disagreeable or demanding for fear of losing him? Look, I know it can be difficult to keep your standards high when you really like someone. It's like everything goes right out the window. But when you compromise your standards, you're always going to get less than you need and less than you deserve. You're setting the bar low. You're setting the parameters low, and you're letting him know it's okay to treat you that way. And even worse, compromising your values also increases the possibility of entering into unhealthy relationships or situations. And let me tell you why. Because when you compromise your standards, you're simply pushing the conflict and the problem further into the future. You're ignoring the red flags because you want to be wanted so badly, and you continue to accept less than you deserve. So, if a man isn't meeting your standards, if a man isn't treating you right, if a man isn't meeting your needs, arguing with him or complaining to him or pleading with him is not going to bring him to change. That's just not going to work. If a man isn't meeting your standards and meeting your needs, you need to be walking away. When he knows that you aren't willing to settle, that you aren't going to tolerate behaviors or actions of his that you don't agree with or that don't meet your standards, he's going to respect you and step up to the challenge and meet your standards. He's going to appreciate your self-respect, and your value in his eyes goes way up. But he will only experience this if he knows that you are willing and able to walk away from something that isn't right for you. So again, the secret to getting what you want from your relationship depends on 3 things. Number 1, knowing that you share similar values and goals. Number 2, having realistic expectations. And number 3, setting and not compromising your values and standards because you're afraid of losing someone. Because if you do, you will never get what you want or deserve from your relationship. So if you like this topic, I can go into it in more detail in a future video. Just let me know in the comments below. And please share your thoughts and your ideas about videos that you'd like to see me make. Click here to see the video that YouTube thinks that you'll like, or click down here to subscribe and learn how to build great relationships so you can grow happy together. I'll see you in the next video.